Oh. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 5, Text 28. That's right. Ajasya Chakram Tav Ajayayamanam Manomayam Panchadasharam Ashu Trinabi Vidyuchalam Ashtanemi Yad Aksham Ahus Tam Ritam Prapadye Ajasya Chakram Tavajedamanam Manomayam Panchadasharamashu Trinabi Vidyuchalamashtinemi Yadakshamahustamritam Prapadye Ajasya Chakram Tavajeryamanam Manomayam Panchadasharamashu Trinabi Vidyuchalamashtinemi Yadakshamahustamritam Prapadye Ajasya Chakram Tavajeryamanam Manomayam Panchadasharamasu Trinabi Vidyuchalamashtanemi Yadakshamahustamritam Prapadye Ajasya Chakram Tavajeryamanam Manomayam Panchadasharamasu Trinabi Vidyuchalamashtanemi Ajasya Chakram Tvajeryamanam Manomayam Panchadasharamashu Trinabi Vidyuchalamashtanemi Yadakshamahustamritam Prapadye Ajasya Chakram Tvajeryamanam Manomayam Panchadasharamashu Trinabi Vidyuchalamashtanemi Yadakshamahustamritam Prapadye Ajasya of the living being, Chakram, the wheel, the cycle of birth and death in this material world. Do, but, Ajaya, but the external energy of the Supreme Lord. Iryamanam, going around with great force. Manamayam, which is nothing but a mental creation depending chiefly on the mind.
which is nothing but a mental creation depending chiefly on the mind.
Panchadasha,
Panchadasha,
15.
15.
Aram, possessing spokes.
Possessing spokes.
Ashu,
Ashu,
very quick.
very
Trinabi,
Srinabi,
having three naves,
and 3 names,
the three modes of material nature.
3 nodes, 3 names.
Vidyut,
Vidyut,
like electricity.
like electricity.
Jalam,
Chalam,
moving.
moving.
Ashtanemi,
Ashtanemi,
made of 8 fellies,
in the 8 days,
the 8 external energies of the Lord.
the 8 external energies of the Lord.
Bhumi, Apo, Nalo, Vayu, etc.
Bhumi and Lord and Lord.
Yat,
Yat,
Hu,
Hu,
Aksham,
Aksham,
the hub.
the
Ahu,
Hu,
they say.
this is
Tam,
Tam,
unto him.
unto him.
Ritam,
Return,
the fact.
the fact,
Prapadye,
that
let us offer our respectful obeisances.
obeisances.
Translation. In the cycle of material activities, the material body resembles the wheel of a mental chariot. The 10 senses, 5 for working, 5 for gathering knowledge, and the 5 life ears within the body form the 15 spokes of the chariot's wheel. The three modes of three modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are its center of activities. And the 8 ingredients of nature, earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and false ego, comprise the rim of the wheel. The external material energy moves this wheel like electrical energy. Thus, the wheel revolves very quickly around its hub or central support. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supersoul and the ultimate truth, we offer our respectful obeisances unto him. Please repeat. In the cycle of material activities,
In the cycle of material activities,
the material body resembles the wheel of a mental chariot.
the material resembles the wheel of a mental chariot.
The 10 senses, 5 for working and 5 for gathering knowledge,
The 10 senses, 5 for working and 5 for gathering knowledge,
and the 5 life ears within the body
and the 5 life ears within the body
form the 15 spokes of the chariot's wheel.
form the 15 spokes of the chariot's wheel.
The 3 modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance,
The 3 modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance,
are its center of activities.
are its center of activities.
And the 8 ingredients of nature,
And the 8 ingredients of nature,
earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and false ego,
earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and false ego,
comprise the rim of the wheel.
comprise the rim of the wheel.
The external material energy
The external material energy
moves this wheel like electrical energy.
moves this wheel like electrical energy.
Thus, the wheel revolves very quickly around its hub
Thus the wheel revolves very quickly around its hub,
or central support,
central support,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
who is the Supersoul and the ultimate truth.
who is the super soul and the ultimate truth.
We offer a respectful obeisances unto him.
We offer us obeisances unto him.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The cycle of repeated birth and death is figuratively described herein as stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.5. Apreyamitas tav anyam prakritam vidime param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayidam dharyate jagat. The entire world is going on because the living entity who is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord is utilizing the material energy. Under the clutches of the material energy, the Jivatma is revolving on the wheel of birth and death under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The central point is the Supersoul, as explained in the Bhagavad Gita 1861. Ishvara sarvabhutanam rideshi arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yanta rudani mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. The material body of the living entity is a result of the conditioned soul's activities. And because the supporter is a supersoul, the supersoul is the true reality. Every one of us, therefore, should offer respectful obeisances to the central reality. One should not be misguided by the activities of this material world and forget the central point, the absolute truth. That is the instruction given here by Lord Brahma. Om Jnanatamrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranvitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in the cycle of material activities, the material body resembles the wheel of a mental chariot. The 10 senses, 5 for working, 5 for gathering knowledge, and the 5 life airs within the body form the 15 spokes of the chariot's wheel. The 3 modes of nature, goodness, passion, ignorance, at its center of activities. And the 8 ingredients of nature, earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and false ego, comprise the rim of the wheel. The external material energy moves this wheel like electrical energy. Thus, the wheel revolves very quickly around its hub or central support, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supersoul and the ultimate truth. We offer respectful obeisances unto him. So here is a very interesting description of the cycle of repeated birth and death, very intricately described. So it's figuratively described, sorry. And the main thing is that although there is a wheel with all these different spokes representing the living entities, working senses, and 3 modes of material nature, and all the different ingredients of nature, earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, false ego. But actually the hub of the central support is the personality of Godhead, who's the super soul, and the ultimate truth is described here. So Lord Brahma is describing the fact that, because in the previous verse, he's describing how the Lord knows everything. He's the driving force of everything. And I'll just read the previous verse again because I wasn't aware of it. The Supreme Personality of God directly and indirectly knows everything, including the living force, mind, and intelligence is working under his control. He is the illuminator of everything and has no ignorance. He does not have a material body subject to the reactions of previous activities, and he is free from the ignorance of partiality and materialistic education, and therefore takes shelter to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, who is eternal, all-pervading, and as great as the sky, and appears with 6 opulences, 3 yugas, Satya, Treta, and Dwapar. So they've gone straight to meet with Lord Brahma, the demigods, because they've lost everything. And so Lord Brahma's praying on the ocean of milk to the Lord, and these are his prayers. Although he's never seen the Lord, from the Vedas, he can understand that this is where the Lord is, so that's where he goes. So it's interesting, and I met an atheist in Carlisle, and he was, he's totally like a very old man. He says, I don't believe in God, I don't believe anything's after this, and if there was a God, why is there children dying of cancer in the ward? And I said, well, do you understand karma? Do you understand reincarnation? He goes, no, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in karma. I said, well, how can I explain that to you then, why they're suffering? And I said, have you ever been to China? He says, no. I said, so if somebody's been to China and comes back and tells you what it's like, will you believe him? He says, yeah. I said, similarly, we may not have seen God, and we may not know what the spiritual world looks like, but if somebody comes from there and who has seen God, who has seen the spiritual world, and he gives us description of it, why would we not have the faith in him? It's the same logic. You have faith in the person that comes from China and describes China to you, and you believe it. So why can we not believe in somebody who's come from the spiritual world and is giving us his knowledge in the scriptures? So he just didn't have enough faith in that, but he has faith in the person that comes from China. So that in the same way, like Lord Brahma, he has faith in the Vedas. The Vedas say, okay, Lord Vishnu is residing in Shvetadvip. So they go to Shvetadvip and pray, and Lord Vishnu helps them. The faith of the devotee is that he accepts Guru, Sadhguru and Shastra. He accepts that, okay, he may not have the vision of the Supreme Lord, but he has the way of seeing the Lord through the Shastras, through the sadhus who have seen Krishna, through the Guru who is via medium to see Krishna. So they have seen the truth, so they can reveal it to us. So that is the descending process. So here, Lord Brahma is praying to the Lord in this way, that he's explaining that this material body, it resembles a wheel, a chariot, a wheel of a chariot, and it's called the ingredients of like the 3 modes of material nature, the 5 life airs, the 5 working senses and 5 knowledge acquiring senses. It's got all the ingredients of nature: earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and false ego. And the whole thing is revolving, is moving. The external energy is moving this wheel like electrical energy. And the wheel is revolving around very quickly around its hub, but the hub or the center of support is the Supreme Lord. So the Supreme Lord is the one who's actually supporting the whole cosmic creation, the whole, all our bodies, the whole material external energy is actually controlled and supported by the Lord. So that's how it's actually functioning. And Prabhupada says in the purport that the entire world is going on because the living entity, who is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is utilizing the material energy. Under the clutches of the material energy, the Jivatma is revolving on the wheel of birth and death under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The central point is the Super Soul. So nowhere is the living entity completely independently in control. It's and even the demigods, they are not complete, ultimate, independent controllers, because if they were, they wouldn't be going to Lord Vishnu for help. If they could solve the problem, they could do it, but they can't. So in the same way, we try to solve our problems by ourselves. It's not very easy. It's not very possible. So we have to take shelter of the Lord. So and that's the only way we can actually get free from this external energy, because there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, this divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome, but one who surrenders unto me can easily overcome it, easily cross beyond it. So this external material energy is not possible for us to overcome with our own effort, with our own ideas, mental concoctions, speculations. The only way we can is by taking shelter of Krishna, and because Krishna is in control of that energy, he can actually stop it. He can actually lift us out of it. He can arrange it that we can get free from it. It's like, if you want to get free from the prison house, we can try every way, but the best way is just go to surrender to him, and he can unlock the prison house and let us out. So that's actually the easiest way to get out the prison. So this material energy is like, material world is like a prison. And the only way is if we take shelter of Krishna, then he can help us. So, and Krishna is in the heart of every living entity, including the demigods. So it's only by the Lord in the heart of the demigods, in the heart of the living entity, he can actually fulfill everyone's desires. So I was just reading in the Bhagavad Gita yesterday that there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says that those who worship the demigods are less intelligent, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who go to the planets of those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, and those who worship me will come to me. And in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that the Lord is within the heart of the demigod, and he's also in the heart of the living entity. And it's only because the Lord, if the living entity wants to worship a demigod, then the Lord in the heart of the living entity inspires him to worship that demigod. The living entity doesn't have the ability to actually have faith unless Krishna allows him to have the faith. He arranges them to have the faith. And the demigod also can't fulfill the desires of that living entity unless the Lord sanctions it within the heart of that demigod. So in one sense, Krishna is the ultimate controller. He's controlling. If we have desire for some material benefits and we want to worship a demigod, then Krishna, only by his mercy, can that be allowed. Can the living entity actually worship a demigod? And that demigod can't fulfill the desire of that living entity unless Krishna sanctions it. So everything ultimately is under Krishna's control. And that's why Lord Brahma is saying this, that actually even the demigods, they're not complete controllers. They can control to a certain degree, but they need Krishna's sanction for it to happen. Like right now, we see that the demigods have lost all their wealth and they haven't got the ability to actually defeat the demons. And now the demigods are very powerful living entities. They're in control of the planets like the sun and the moon, and all Lord Indra's in control of the heavenly planets. So they have got lots of power. But still they couldn't defeat the demons because of this curse from Durvasa Muni. And so in order for them to get some help, they needed to go to Lord Vishnu for help, and even Lord Brahma couldn't help them. So we can see how limited the demigods even are. They can't overcome certain things, and they need Krishna's help. And because they're devotees, although they may be not pure devotees, they may have some material desires to enjoy in this material world. Still, because they're devotees, they're pious, they turn to the Lord for help. So this is actually one of the 4 pious persons who take shelter of Krishna. The ones in distress, the desire of wealth, those are inquisitive, and he who's searching for knowledge of the absolute truth. So in the distressed condition, the demigods turn to Krishna for help. So they're considered devotees. They may not be on the path of pure devotion, but still they're devotees, and Krishna always helps the demigods. We see throughout the Bhagavatam the amount of times the demigods are having problems and they go to the Lord for help, and the Lord comes down as incarnations to help the demigods and to help the earthly planet and the living entities in it. So ultimately, the Lord is situated in everyone's heart, and he's directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated on a machine made of the material energy. This yantra rudani mayaya. This is the yantra is like a machine. So this material energy is like a machine made of material energy. The material body of living entity is a result of the conditioned soul's activities, and because the supporter is a supersoul, the supersoul is a true reality. Every one of us, therefore, should offer respectful obeisances to the center of reality. So it's actually the supersoul in the heart that's keeping the body alive. It's actually keeping the whole structure functioning. As soon as the supersoul and the soul leave the body, then the body is inactive. It becomes, as we call it, dead. It's just dead matter. So it's only because the supersoul is present in the body, it's actually giving the body energy to function. And then as soon as the supersoul leaves with the soul, goes into another body, and that body becomes inert. And so, and the material body of living is a result of the conditioned soul's activities. So we're the architect of our own fortune and misfortune. We can't really blame anybody else for it. Whatever body, whatever mental state we're in, whatever body we have in this life is a result of our past life. And we've desired certain things, and we've misused our independence in so many ways. So we have a particular body in this life. So we have to take responsibility for our own actions and say, okay, well, I've done something in my past to receive this body. I may not be able to do so much spiritual activities, but let me take shelter of Krishna and somehow or another and take part in spiritual activities, because that's the only way out of it. The only way positive, only way forward is that. And the thing is, we may be thinking, well, how can I change? Because the world's in such a mess. How can we change the world? How can we make it a better place? But actually, the one step we can make is make ourselves a better person. And that way we'll make the right choices to help other people make the right choices. Like, if we're not, it's like a drowning man can't really save anybody else. So first of all, the drowning man has to learn how to swim, and then he can save other people, right? So in the same way, if we focus on trying to make ourselves a better person and make the right choices in spiritual life, then we can benefit so many more people, and we will have them, and Krishna can empower us to help more people that way, because we will make the right choices in our Krishna consciousness, and that way we will inspire other people to take up Krishna consciousness. So, and this only comes through proper sadhana, proper devotional service, hearing and chanting, remembering Krishna, praying, taking shelter, and that way we can get the mercy from the Lord. We can become a medium, a channel for their mercy to help other people. But you have to start somewhere. Shishikodantai Mai Prashishiki Jai. So, and that way we can make use of this human form of life and benefit ourselves and benefit other people. In this way, there's so many things that's how we can actually change the world, because the more people we come in touch with, and this is in Krishna consciousness, and they help other people, so then it's existential, it'll continue on and on and on. And that's how we can actually change the world. It's like that story, there was an old man, and he was walking on the seashore, and this little boy was picking up some starfish and throwing it into the sea. And the old man said, look, there's thousands and thousands of starfish. You're never going to manage it. It's impossible. And then this little boy picked up the starfish and threw it into the sea. And he says, well, it made a difference to that one, because the molds are going to make a difference. There's thousands and thousands of starfish, and you're just picking up one or two and throwing them into the sea. But the point is, whatever starfish he did pick, it made a difference to that starfish, right? It helped that. So in the same way, we may not be able to, it's like an overwhelming thing to try to save everybody in the whole world. It's like an impossible task. But whoever we do come in touch with, we can save them, we can help them. And so that's what Sankirtan's about. We're just trying to help a few souls every day that will make a difference to them in their life. So we may not be able to save everybody in the world, but at least we can try to save a few. And they can also, if they take up Krishna consciousness, they can save a few more, so then it'll multiply and multiply. And that's how Krishna consciousness spreads. Because it's if one person inspires somebody else, they can inspire another 10 people. And those 10 people can inspire another 10 people. So then it continues on and on and on. So yeah, this is actually so important that we connect people somewhere or another to Krishna, because people are in so much ignorance, they don't know anything. They're totally unaware that there is even a God. There is this material energy that actually we can get out of this prison and we can actually go back to the spiritual world. Most people are not aware of that. And that we can actually make a choice to make the right choice, because people are making choices, but they're making all the wrong choices in life out there. They're just going along with their karma, But we can actually break that karma. We can actually give them a book, will change their karma. That one book can change their whole karma, samsara, the whole cycle of birth and death can get changed just by that one book. So it's such an amazing, it's like, we're like doctors in a war zone, and people are just dying, and we're out there giving the medicine to people that are just about to flop, So it's a very important service. We can't understand how great it is, but the effects of this Sankirtan movement is so amazing. I remember when I was about 10 years old. I didn't know anything about Krishna consciousness. I didn't even have a book. But somehow or another, I went past an Oxfam shop and I noticed this beautiful book called Ishopanishad. It was a big book. That it was in 1970 or 1980, something like that. I've seen. So it was a different version from what we've got, but it was a hardback book, Ishopanishad. And there was a little 3-book trilogy of Krishna, the Krishna trilogy. And it was like paperback books. It wasn't like what we have now, but it was like in a trilogy set, and there was 3 of them in a little box. And so for some reason, and they were only 10 pence each, and for some reason I was thinking, they're so attractive, I need to buy these books. So I went and bought these 2 books. And I never read them because I was only 10 years old. I couldn't understand what it was talking about, you know. But I gave them to my uncle. So that was my first book distribution. Unknowingly, I distributed Prabhupada's books. And my uncle read them. He didn't become a devotee, but he did come up with a few things what he got from it, that Kamsa got delivered, although he was always thinking of Krishna, but he wasn't thinking of Krishna favorably. He still got liberation, you know. So I thought, well, at least he's read the book, you know, so he can understand something of it. But, and when I got the book when I was 12, I got a Bhagavad Gita. And somebody had given it to my father in his shop, and he had left it in his shop lying around. And when I went to his shop, I noticed the Bhagavad Gita was there. And I was very attracted to the cover because it's Krishna and Arjuna on the front cover. And I really wanted that book, but I was thinking, oh, I'll leave it. It's not my book, so I didn't. And then one day my father brought it home to the house, and I was like, oh, that book. So I grabbed it from my father. My brothers wanted to see what it was, and I wouldn't let go of it. So we were having a tug of war with the book. And then all the little pictures came out. They all came out because they were in the middle, and because we were both pulling the book, then all the pictures came out the middle of the book. And then, so I took the book and I was reading it every day. I didn't know anything about chapter a day of Bhagavad Gita. I didn't meet devotees. I didn't know anything. But I was so attracted to this Bhagavad Gita that I used to carry it wherever I went, and I would read the translations every day. And then that book basically was my link to Krishna, to Prabhupada, and slowly and surely I started to chant Hare Krishna, and everything. I started to come to the temple after a few years of that, because I was only 12 that time. And I met the devotees again, and actually I never met devotees till I was 16. I met one Mataji who came to my father's shop and sold me a Krishna book. So we can see how Krishna arranged everything. I got the book, and it purified me and helped me to understand Krishna has a form, because I couldn't accept that God has no form, because I was brought up as a Sikh in a Sikh family, and they don't believe that God has a form. It's an impersonal way. And so for me, I used to think, but I can't accept that God has no form. It doesn't make any sense. And so when I got the Bhagavad Gita, it all made sense, because Krishna has a form, and he has the most beautiful form. Prabhupada describes that. And so everything came into place, like everything made sense for me. Like, yeah, God has a form, and he's he's full of all opulences. So it was so like, it connected me to Krishna so easily. Like Prabhupada's like so powerful, his words, And although, at the age of 12, I couldn't really understand too much of the Bhagavad Gita, but it helped me to come closer to Krishna. And Krishna arranged me to meet the devotees at the right time. And because that atheist was asking, how do you know, have you ever seen God? I said, yeah, I've seen his hand many times. My whole life, I've seen God's hand in my life. So in that way, we can see Krishna is helping us. And it says here that the Lord is very, very kind, and he's situated in everyone's heart, and he's directing the wanderings of all living entities. So Lord, and we've read in the preaching is the essence, that the Lord really wants us to come to this Krishna consciousness. He wants us to become conscious of him. So he's trying to direct us, even if we're not even trying to come to him. He's still trying his best to help us come closer to him. So, and we can be instruments in Krishna's hand to do that. And because we've got the mercy, we've had the mercy given to us through Prabhupada's books, through the Association of Devotees, then we can help others. And actually, that's why the devotees are so dear to Krishna, because Krishna doesn't generally give his mercy directly to somebody. He gives it through the devotee. The devotee carries bhakti, and bhakti can only be given by somebody who has bhakti. So when we come in touch with Krishna, we're giving Prabhupada's books, and Prabhupada is pure devotee. His bhakti will rub off on them when they read Prabhupada's books. So we're just like a channel, a postman, helping people, with this, and linking them with Krishna, with Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. And we can see how powerful that effect has, that even if they just touch the book, they're guaranteed a human form in the next life. Never mind if they read the book, never mind if they become devotees and chant Hare Krishna. So it's an amazing journey. Everyone has their own journey in Krishna consciousness. And we can, by making these good choices, then we can help benefit so many people. And they can also benefit more and more people. So, sorry, I've gone over time. It's 5 minutes late. Any questions, quick questions or comments? Yes,
Thank you for such an inspiring class. It's really, really wonderful to hear these stories and to feel the passion and the love that you have for this whole process and everything. Really inspiring. Thank you. There was a bit earlier on about how Krishna is the center of reality, and he's the director of the intelligence and the mind and all the energies. And so he also maintains our free will. So he doesn't interfere with our free will. So is it the case if we have a particular desire to enjoy, then he will direct our intelligence and our remembrance or forgetfulness in such a way so these desires can be manifested? So is it when we change our desire, that is when we get access to, this knowledge and things like that? And say, for example, if we don't have, if we can't remember things, if we are forgetting or we are in a different state, is that due to our desire that is being manifested through Krishna?
So your question is that we have free will, and so our desires from the past life are manifest in this life because Krishna helps us to remember them. Is that what you're saying? Or it's manifest?
Oh, not exactly. It's more like, because it states that he's directing our intelligence, our remembrance, and our forgetfulness. And so if we are remembering something, or we are having the intelligence to comprehend something, or the other way about, is this a direct manifestation of our desires through Krishna? Is he noticing that we have a particular desire that needs to be resolved within our hearts, and then, either makes us forget something or remember something to allow us to fulfill that desire?
Well, it's ultimately dependent on our desire as well, because if we desire something, then Krishna sanctions it. It's like we're the initiating cause and Krishna's the sanctioning cause. So we initiate it. So we may have a desire for something, and then Krishna sanctions it. Does that make sense? So it's not like he's putting that desire in our heart.
Yes, I understand that. I'm just saying, say for example that we have some unresolved desires within ourselves that we haven't addressed, and in order for those desires to be fulfilled, would Krishna perhaps take away some intelligence from us or some memory from us so we could enter into that particular thing, and then that desire is then manifested or done, shall we say?
Possibly, yeah. Because he's the one who's allowing us to remember things and forget things. So if we have a desire to forget Krishna, then he'll let us forget him. Like the atheist, they don't want anything to do with God, so then Krishna allows them to forget him. So if we have some desires that are unresolved, unless they've been purified, they may come up again and again. But Krishna is very kind because he allows, with the devotees, he fulfills the desires in such a way that we won't desire them again. So he allows us to fulfill those desires in such a way that we won't be wanting them again and again and again. So we may go through a bit of troublesome, bit of, or not necessarily trouble, but we may have to go through that desire to become a bit more peaceful and practice our Krishna consciousness. Don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, that was perfect. And one more, if you could permit me, please. So I was very appreciative of your example with the atheist. I also had interesting experience with an atheist recently, and she claims to be scientific. Oh, I'm scientific. But then you go, well, there's scientific as a method. We look at evidence, and there's evidence of reincarnation, karma, all these sorts of things. We can see these things in people's near-death experiences. There is no conscious energy. All energy stays forever, it doesn't diminish. So your conscious energy is going to go on somewhere after you die. But the people seem to be it's almost impossible for it to get through, like there's some kind of a barrier. So how can we inspire somebody to take to knowledge if they are so closed off?
It's very difficult. That's why we, by some causeless mercy, the Lord, can help us help them, but it's very difficult to help people who are inimical to God, so we avoid them. The Madhyamadika doesn't really deal with, he avoids the atheists and non-believers because they've just become more and more critical and more offensive, so you just kind of leave them, not get too caught up with trying to preach to them, because it's very difficult for them to understand even the basics, or any logic. They're just, and Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that I'm never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent, and thus by Yoga Maya he covers them so they don't know that he's infallible, and so unless they perform devotional service, it's not going to be possible for them to understand Krishna. And the best way is for them to hear the holy name somehow, because as soon as they hear about Krishna, they become pious. So we can't speak about the glories of the holy name to atheistic persons, but at least if they can hear the holy names, they get some piety, agata sukriti, unknowingly perform devotional service. So they'll get to hear the holy name, get them to chant Gauranga, or get them to chant Hare Krishna or something. I mean, they probably won't, but at least if they can hear the sound vibration, and that will help them somehow. So it's very difficult. So we basically, when we're going in Sankirtan, we're trying to connect with people who are innocent, who are not so atheistic, and we're trying to give them some opportunity to take up some form of, get some mercy, yeah.
So, as atheistic people, are they destined to suffer because of their offences, and we can't help them? Do we have to accept that these people will, have to suffer? Is this the sanction of the Lord? Should we just leave them to horrible fate?
Well, because of the Sankirtan movement, they'll come in touch with a book. They'll come in touch with something unknowingly. That's why there's, so many. Because of the Sankirtan movement, they'll get some benefit somewhere along the line. They maybe hear the holy name, they may see a holy name, they may touch a book, and unknowingly they may, just see a devotee, there's so many ways that they can actually be affected, and just to hear a Hari Nam go by, Yeah, unless they change their ways, what can be done for them? And we can't really change their karma unless they take up. Krishna can do anything, of course, but we just have to accept that we can't change them. It's hard enough to change ourselves. How can we change those who are totally atheistic? It's very difficult. It's a very difficult job. So best not to get too caught up with them. Best to try to find the ones that are innocent and the ones that are not inimical to God, and somehow give them some. This Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya came, and Lord Nityananda was trying to deliver Jagai and Madai, but because they had been brahmanas and previously before they became drunkards, then he could help them. But so many of these atheists are not, in this day and age, they've not really done anything pious, And Krishna explains that the 4 people who do not surrender unto him are the Asuri Bhavam, the demonic mentality, the Maya Prita Jnana, those whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, the Mudas, the grossly foolish, and the envious, and Naradamas, the lowest of mankind. Because they've got a human form of life, but they don't utilize it in godly activities. They're just losing. So you can read that. If you want to know more, you can read that chapter where Krishna explains the 4 types of sinful men that don't surrender unto him, and the 4. I think it's chapter 7. I can't remember actually, but
in the Gita.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll find that.
Yeah. So the four people who surrender unto him, and the 4 people who don't surrender unto him, and what their mentality is. So you can read what Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita. But yeah, it's not going to be easy to try to convert them, but at least try to find those who are most favorable to Krishna consciousness and help them. Is that okay?
Yes, that's small comment. I think from my own experience, I think I have this vision today. I saw Harinam. I was like, maybe I was like 17, maybe. But I just remember some weird people coming and just like dancing in the but I don't remember hearing the Hare Krishna, but it definitely was Hare Krishna. So I think it definitely had the influence on me as well, and the way to know everything else followed. My brother got into it in Bhagavad Gita here, and so it was.
Yeah, so the Harinam has this very special effect because even people not interested, they still get to hear the holy name. And like Rath Yatra, so much, they just see Lord Jaggannath. They may not know anything about Lord Jaggannath, but they get the darshan of Lord Jaggannath. The Krishna consciousness is like, it's so kind, it's like so merciful to everyone in so many ways. It's just like giving out the mercy, Lord Chaitanya's mercy to everyone. And that's what it is. We can benefit so many atheists that way.
So, there's an actual portrait of Lord Chaitanya. If somebody can see that picture, would that be like taking darshan of Lord Chaitanya?
Which pictures?
Lord Chaitanya had his portrait, his painting of him.
Yeah, we're not 100% sure if that's, I don't know if it's real or not, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, they can see Lord Chaitanya.
Or a picture of the deity then would be better.
Yeah. Anything to do with Krishna, anything to do with Lord Chaitanya, they see. And seeing devotees as well, they benefit from that. Is that okay? Shall I stop then? Thank you. Granthar Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Iskon Guru Govind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanand.
Jaggannath Priya Devi.